my name's Henry Happy, and today I'm going to be showing you how to detail your builds in Minecraft. This is the third episode of a 5-part series where I'm showing you how to improve your Minecraft builds. Right, let's get into it. Okay, so what is detail? So the detail that we have mostly in this build is textured detail and also kind of like depth detail, so things like here where it's higgledy-piggledy, and then there are other bits where it's like atmospheric detail. So textured detail is like using different palettes. So as I said in my textures and gradients video, this is really important for Minecraft builds. Like, it makes them go from being something like this flat world here to having more life. It makes them feel less like clinical. It makes them feel slightly less modern. It makes them feel run down even. So they feel kind of more alive. They feel like someone's used it. It's not like it's fresh out of the box. So here on the path, I've used 7 blocks, I believe, going from kind of these yellowy blocks down to kind of some reddy browns, like this, going all the way through. This continues all the way around the tower and like on all of the paths. See, something else that's quite important is even though all of the paths are going to look different because I haven't put the blocks in the exact same place, you do need to keep some kind of uniform within it. So don't change, like some paths don't have them like bright red and then others bright blue just because why not? You should have some reasoning for why you're doing them different colors or do them the same color. So then I have 4 blocks for the greenery around. See, the reason I used a lot less for the greenery, despite there being more of it, is because it's not really such a centerpiece. And if I made the greenery have really contrasting colors like in the path, you would be concentrating too much on the grassy areas as opposed to like the path leading you to the buildings. Okay, then the interesting bits are the 2 building materials. So I've used this stone gradient. Despite it being on the buildings, I haven't used too much variation, just because if I use too much, I just have layers and it would look more like a cake than a Minecraft build. And then this. So this is actually a really interesting roof palette. I don't usually use things like this. I actually saw it Grian's video, so shout out to Grian. Yep. So where you have like a regular weathered or oxidized copper roof, and then you put these blotches where you have waxed weathered copper around with then strip warp stem and stem warp block, or sorry, warped warp block, just in the middle here. So it goes like, you kind of get like this radiating effect. And it looks as though it's been rusting. It looks as though it's been broken a bit. Maybe there's some dents in it. So as you can see, it's probably the best on this roof. Yeah, it's quite good on kind of smaller roofs as opposed to this big one. This one, it doesn't work so well. But as I said, I wanted to keep like uniform between the houses so that they seemed more connected. Okay, so the next kind of detail that we're going to talk about is the the depth detail. So as you can see throughout this build, like even in these windows, I've used a lot of depth. So you can see I've used trapdoors, fence gates, overhangs. We haven't got a flat building at all. We have massive overhangs. We have these stairs going over. We have coral fans, which add some extra texture on the outside. And some candles as well, which aren't lit, but look like small clusters of rocks. I've also kind of spread this out on the bottom a bit more, so this also has some more depth in it. Then if you go over to the tower here, we have a little less depth than the main building, but still quite a lot of depth. Like even in the chimney, we've got bits sticking out. It's not just a straight chimney. Same over there. Yeah. And then if I come over here, oh yep, this doorway here to our mushroom house, that also has depth in it, the overhang of the mushroom. This little area here. So the depth is very, very important, and it kind of makes you feel like you're not in a 2D world, because we're not, we're in a 3D world. And it would be a little weird if all of the houses were just totally flat, because it's very hard to detail a wall where it's like this, just like completely flat. But it's a lot easier, say it's got some kind of depth in it, like maybe there's a gap here. It makes it a lot easier and a lot nicer to be able to texture and detail, because if you start detailing a wall that's like totally flat, it's probably not going to look very good. Like if you don't add any depth. So then there are these atmospheric details. So like over here, so the atmospheric details kind of add character into the builds. They give it a purpose. So like over here we have a little area where you can do smelting. Maybe there'll be a blacksmith who lives in this house. And then there's a tree here with a tree, like a saw, next to it. And also a pile of rocks for the blacksmith to use. Then over here, in the fireplace, I've added candles so that it looks more like lit up, slightly brighter. Yep, I've added lights inside of these windows so that the house isn't totally dark and it stands out against the kind of black night. I've used these campfires not only for the smoke but also for the sound they make, to make it sound like these furnaces are like alight and on fire. Then we have these small roots, making it feel like these mushrooms are still growing, they're not stuck. And I think the best part is this spore blossom, which adds this green particle effect all the way around the build. I think that's possibly the most atmospheric detail we have. We also have, like, when we have a huge mushroom, we have these smaller mushrooms underneath to show that maybe it's grown spores, and also these candles that look like other small mushrooms. Nice bushes. Oh, and pickles and candles. You rarely ever see anyone do this, but pickles and candles actually make great shrubbery. Let me just find a candle. Hang on. Where are they? Oh yeah, over here there are some candles. You see, and they just look like little shrubs, but actually you can set fire to the candles and they're made of wax, and the sea pickles should be in the ocean, but they're not. So it kind of makes them look like fungus or little kind of plants. Also, I've used a specific type of flower on all of the paths. So I've got this white, I believe, azure bluet and the lily of the valley going all the way around, because, sorry, because then when you go over to the mushroom house down here, we have these pink flowers, and it makes the mushroom house stand out a little more, even though it's very small. Because it's like a little garden. Right. So another way you can detail houses is through interior. So like on the inside of this mushroom, you can see I've done a mini interior. So we have some flowers here. So these flowers, again, they contrast with the flowers that we have outside and like the color of the red roof. Then we have this nice banner here and a lantern at the top and a little bench here and a bed. Yeah. So, I've also, oh yeah, I have a mini grave over here for someone who might have died, but just to add some extra, character, because, yeah. Then, yeah, I think that's mostly it, but I also have some other things, like some sound things, so, like, in this door, for example, when you hit this doorbell, you get a ding-dong, so, yep. So I did that using note blocks back here that go like pause one time, using the gold blocks to add like a more of a chimey sound. Yeah, so I don't think there's much more to say about this, but something else that I have used quite a lot is lighting. So lighting is really important for creating an atmosphere, because as you can see, I've made it nighttime so that when you're far away, if I go fly over here, you can see that the whole village glows, despite everything else being very dark. So if I'm trying to create a kind of happy fantasy feel here, so I've made it very, very light. But if you're doing like kind of maybe a grave or something, you'd make it more dark. You wouldn't have as many lights around. But yeah, no, so this is supposed to be a campfire, or maybe something that's more run down, abandoned, wouldn't have as many lights in it, because they would have all gone out. But yeah, no. So this place I put a lot of light because it's supposed to be kind of happy, inhabited area. with a cool wizard. I think this is a wizard's tower. I'm not really sure. But yeah, so that's this build. I really hope you've enjoyed this video. If you did, please make sure to like and subscribe. Thank you very much. Yeah, bye!